I just can't give enough credit to the way that they've gone after this and studied and learned and practiced and improved. What's really been great, we'll put things in, and sometimes you put things in and you're taking a look at it and you're like, man, I'm not really sure if I like that or not, and then they're kind of like, hey, let's give it one more look, and they fixed it, or they made you feel more comfortable about those calls, which I love, like that ownership that they've been able to do with some of the stuff that we've done. So it's been pretty good. So exactly right. We got to go on the road now. We have a whole operation there that'll be a little bit different than what we're used to, communication-wise, and then certainly, Washington being their home stadium and having that advantage for their offense. So that gives us some different challenges, and certainly just this teams get better each week, and Washington will be the next best team that we face in their offense. And Coach Fish does a great job. Jed does a great job with that unit, their quarterback, and their skill players, the running game, and all the things that they present from a problem standpoint. I think they're tops, in college football and a lot of offensive stats. So he's a great coach. They got really good players. It's a huge challenge for us to travel and kind of the change of schedule. We finally kind of getting on like a normal schedule here in season. It's been nice to be home. I really enjoy our crowd. I enjoy our fans a lot. It's a big advantage for us. And if they can travel and get out there as much as possible, that'd be awesome. I'm up for it. Yeah, I think that's a great point of we've got to just be consistent with what we're coaching and what we're asking the guys to do, and the coaches have done a great job of that, and the players want that too. It's good to be able to have those reps in a game where you can kind of really get that fundamental technique down and that teaching and communication down where it's happening at game speed. Practice is great, but there's nothing like being able to do it, live in that environment under that sort of, just stress of the game. So being able to evaluate guys in those moments has been really important. I think that's it's actually critical for us going forward as we are trying to identify players in different roles and then guys that can come in certain situations and earn different spots in different units that we have. So those have been really important snaps, I think, in the games that we've had where those guys have come in.
Over here to the right,
in the middle of the defense, and he is strong in the middle of the defense. He's right there, right in front of the center, right in front of the quarterback, and I think offensively, you're trying to figure out, okay, how do we get around this? That's the biggest thing. So that's a key piece for us. He's done a great job, I think, of really improving and showing just how big he can play inside. And sometimes what that does to the defense is actually allows you to push your defense out a little bit more. Kind of went through that in some of the other nose guards that I've had, or interior guys that I've had, where guys maybe can widen out some alignments, they can play a little bit off and deeper because it's going to take the play a little bit longer to get to them when you have that ability inside. So I think he's done a great job, but I think those other guys really, Will Smith showed up here, really a couple really good plays, and Edric does a good job inside, and Taiwan, those guys have all really kind of every single week gotten a little bit better with that technique. I think K-Max he's just ahead of those guys. He's done a really good job with it.
Players that you want.
Yeah, it's been fun having that many pieces, that much depth, and we have young guys in those positions too, but being able to put out different sub packages or different base packages and put some of those guys in those positions has been really good. And I think those guys earned an opportunity to go play, so to be able to have that much opportunity to do that with those guys has been really good. And sometimes you gotta be careful because I'm looking at the board maybe on a Tuesday and I'm like, oh, we can run all these packages, and I'm like, all right, we can't get all that practice because you're trying to get everybody a job and a role, and I think the coaches have done a good job of putting different guys in those positions to be able to get them all out on the field. And I think all of these snaps that we're getting now are gonna pay off, in the long run. We don't know what it's gonna look like a month from now, but certainly getting as much game rep as we can now helps everybody, I think. Yeah, one of the big things during the spring that was really good was just I was able to observe and watch the different skill sets that everyone had, and with the defensive line, Coach Johnson does an unbelievable job of coaching these guys. They all have maybe a little bit of different things they do well and things that maybe you don't want in positions you don't want them in. And by being able to use multiple fronts of different looks, I'm trying to just get them in the best possible position to do what it is they do well, so they can go play fast and aggressive. So using that variety, I think, hopefully is helped them as they're building the fundamentals and their techniques to be in positions that are advantageous for them. And like I said, Coach Shea does a great job of, we put a couple different looks out there front-wise, and he's just been able to get them all lined up and get them ready to go, the communication and the techniques and all that stuff. So he's done a great job with those guys. Be able to see that style of play, but getting to Washington, he's very much a little bit almost like Kyler Murray. Like that first step quickness that he has and his ability to hit top speed is it's explosive, you know, it's fast, he's quick, he gets out of the pocket, and he's got a really strong live arm, this thing can go downfield, we've got good players to get the ball to. So that's gonna be a huge challenge for us. Even when you think that, you know, you watch the tape, you think he's kind of got him modeled up, he can get out, and that reminds me a lot, like I said, of Kyler Murray, who just, it's so fast to that first step speed, like you can go from, you know, get your top speed in one step. That makes it very difficult for defensive players, especially guys in front. You know, a lot of times they're bigger, longer, slower. You're trying to rush, and you're trying to play the run game because you can obviously run with the ball too a certain way. You think you have leverage, and all of a sudden he sidesteps it, and then he's out the gate. So getting a look at that last week was good for us live in game. Those reps will be valuable, and then it's got to really be next level as we go forward to watch. I think that's a really good just kind of observation, and I'll second all of that. These guys have been unbelievable to go into the meeting room, and you know, I think I've said this before, but it's such a joy to like kind of be around these guys. There is that professionalism that you walk in the meeting room, they're very serious, they take notes, they want to learn what the game plan is, they really want to learn about the you know, the opponent. But then there's just that also joy of like they are young kids, you know, they have that youthful energy about them, they love the game for the game. It's just all of that stuff being around younger players that just, you know, a lot of them, they have fun, you know, they're out there celebrating the, you know, 6, 7, I don't even know what that is, but my kids know what it is, and they get excited about it. So, you know, I love to see that energy and that excitement that they have around each other, and they're young, you know, they're great young men, but in that meeting room and on that practice field, they're as serious as they can be, trying to just be the best players they can be. So it's a great combination, honestly, to be around. It's a lot of fun. And give credit to the players. I think they've done a good job of just trying to learn. And again, I would say we carried some things over, you know, it wasn't totally different, maybe just taught a little bit differently, maybe just more conceptual from that standpoint. There was a lot of carryover in the coverages and some of the techniques and some fronts, but not fronts that maybe weren't in the packages, but just kind of utilizing guys in different ways. So I think the guys have just done an unbelievable job of just, you know, being open-minded to trying to learn maybe a little bit different and put the packages together. It's been a lot of fun, like I said, you know, my whole goal is to, you know, teach and mentor and coach young men and help develop young